Once upon a time, in the southern highlands of Iceland, there was a cat who lived in a castle with the queen. He had everything a cat could want: a comfortable bed, plenty of food, humans who petted him, and lots of rats and mice to play with. The rats were better playmates than the mice because they lasted longer before they died. After a rat or mouse went limp, he brought it to Helga, the queen's head of the household, who gave him a treat for doing so.
Good kitty. Very good kitty.
It was his kingdom. He knew every building on the castle grounds, every room, every inch. He knew every crevice that he could squeeze through, every shortcut. He knew every animal in the barn and stable. He saw that they all had mates. Life was good, except for one thing. He didn't have a mate. He went everywhere looking for his own mate. But couldn't find one. Eventually, he gave up. One day, a horse-drawn cart arrived in the courtyard. He spotted a mouse in the cart, darting behind the sacks of grain. He jumped up onto the cart, searching for the mouse. The mouse appeared for a second behind a sack to the right, then to the left. This is one clever mouse, he thought. The queen's servants unloaded the sacks.
Leave those 3 sacks. I have another stock.
The mouse was hiding somewhere behind those sacks, and he was determined to find it. The driver sat on the bench of the cart.
Ho!
The cart headed out of the courtyard. The cat didn't care that the cart was moving because he had to catch that mouse. He waited, watching the sacks, looking for movement. Finally, he spotted a mouse between the 2 sacks on the right. And pounced. Victory! He turned and jumped off the cart with the mouse hanging from his mouth. He wanted to bring it to Helga. But when he looked around, he didn't know where he was. He was lost. Perhaps Helga would hear him. She often came whenever he meowed. But this time, Helga didn't come. At first, he didn't know what to do, so he decided to walk. There were so many new things to see. There was grass taller than he was, so he created his own path through it, choosing the space between the blades to travel through. There were yellow, blue, and purple flowers that he had never seen before. He saw a bee, but it flew away. He chased the bee through the grass. But before he knew it, he fell into a stream. He swam to the other side and crawled out. He was soaking wet, and he didn't like it. Alas, Helga didn't come. He wandered through a woodland, cold and miserable. At the edge of the wood, he saw a patch of sunshine and headed toward it. He lay down on the short grass in the sunshine to warm himself. He was so tired from all that walking that he fell asleep. He awoke as he felt himself being picked up by a little girl.
Pretty kitty.
She kissed him and petted him, scratching him behind the ears. How did she know to do that? He looked around as he was carried. She brought him to a small farmhouse. It looked like a stable from the outside, but the inside was very different. There was a fireplace, just like in the castle, only it was much smaller. There was a dining table and chairs, and a place where food was prepared. He rubbed up against her legs.
Are you hungry?
She reached down and held out a piece of cheese. It smelled delicious. He put his paws on her legs. She held it closer, and he took it with his teeth, gobbling it down. She gave him another piece, and he ate that too. When he turned, he could not believe his eyes. He saw another cat. He slowly approached the cat, whose fur was spotted in many different colors, unlike his black and brown stripes.
Stop that, Freya. Be nice.
He could not understand why this Freya was so unfriendly. Freya went back to its cat bed and lay down, all the while staring at him. He sought refuge on the other side of the room.
What have we here?
Father, can we keep him?
We shall see.
A few days passed. Freya kept her distance, watching him constantly. While outside, he spotted a mouse running into the farmhouse and followed it. He caught up to the mouse and pounced. The mouse moved as it dangled from his mouth when he did something spontaneous. He brought the mouse over and dropped it in front of Freya. Freya stood up and began to paw the mouse. The mouse tried to escape, but it couldn't. Freya bit the mouse and picked it up.
Look, Father, Freya caught a mouse.
Indeed, she has.
The girl's father disposed of the mouse, and she petted Freya. Freya looked at the cat as if to say thank you. Then Freya approached him. He didn't know what to expect. As Freya came closer, he could smell something different. Then he realized it. Freya was a she. He rubbed against her. All of a sudden, she grabbed him around the neck and pulled him down. She wanted to play. They tumbled on the floor, gently nipping at one another. Front paws wrapped around each other, back paws bouncing gently off each other's belly. They stopped at the same time, breathless. Then she began to lick his face and neck, washing him. He remembered this happened when he was a kitten.
Look, Father, Freya likes this cat after all. What shall we name him?
How about Kris, in honor of the king?
Oh, I love that name.
Then Kris it is.
Kris the Cat was happier than he had ever been in his whole life. After a few days, it struck him like a thunderbolt. He was in love. Several more days passed. Kris Kris forgot all about the castle. He liked sleeping next to Freya. He felt the warmth of her body as they slept side by side. One day, Kris heard a familiar voice outside.
Hello? Is anybody home?
Kris's ears perked up. It was Helga. There she was, standing next to the very same horse-drawn cart and driver.
I've been looking all over for you. The rats are running wild. We need you back at the castle. I was about to give up. And who is this?
That's Freya.
What a beautiful name.
Madam, are you referring to the Queen's castle?
Yes, of course. That's the Queen's cat. He must return to the castle at once. He ran away several days ago. I've searched far and wide for him.
I found him, and his name is Kris.
I just call him Kitty.
Helga looked at the simple clothes the girl and her father wore, and the simple farmhouse. She could tell that they were poor.
I offer you 12 krona for Freya.
Madam, I can't believe what I'm hearing. You are too kind.
You can't sell Freya,
Child,
Father.
listen to me. That money will feed us for a whole year. We cannot refuse.
Can't, Father, you can't.
Think of how happy Freya will be living in the castle.
Freya is perfectly happy here.
Helga paid him, then scooped up both cats into her arms and sat down on the cart.
But they're my cats.
I will invite you to the castle and give you one of their kittens. I promise.
Thank you, madam. You are most generous.
Ho!
Kris was happy to be going home. He couldn't wait to show Freya the castle. He had given up hope of ever finding a mate. He went home looking forward to their new life together, realizing that sometimes love finds you when you least expect it. The